gigantic Norris Dam comes through the winter a step nearer completion. The staccato echoes of clattering machines and the shouts of thousands of busy workmen have resounded through the valley of the Clinch River for nearly 2 years as work has been rushed forward to complete one of the country's largest power and reservoir dams by 1936. Built of huge cement blocks, the walls of the new dam tower into the sky like mighty modern pyramids. This great dam and hydroelectric plant will harness the raging spring floodwaters of the Clinch and Tennessee rivers. Water will be provided for irrigation purposes in the Tennessee Valley for years to come. The hydroelectric plant will furnish light and power to thousands of homes. High above the dam, huge steel buckets filled with rock and concrete swing back and forth all day long. Heavy shadows on the floor of the valley mark their journeys overhead. And at the ends of the cables, enormous anchor cars weighing many tons roll slowly back and forth, lowering the steel buckets at their destinations, then raising and returning them after each load has been delivered. The vast extent of the great TVA project is almost unbelievable. Hundreds of thousands of tons of rock are being removed, and tons of concrete and steel are being substituted in their place. A fast, dependable ambulance is held in readiness for any possible emergency that might arise. The many machines, motor cars, and trucks used are receiving the roughest and toughest punishment. Steel railroad rails are welded into truck bodies that will withstand the 10-ton loads of rock. A shovel that fights more than 3 tons of rock at a time out of the side of this hill, then piles it on a waiting truck. With incredible accuracy, the scoop is swung to and fro by the highly skilled touch of a steam shovel engineer. 1 or 2 scoops this size and it's ready to move on. Without efficient shovels like this and sturdy trucks to carry away the rock, many more years would be required to complete the building program. Whoa! Look at the load they put on that Chevrolet truck. In addition to the 10-ton heavy-duty trucks, many other smaller, faster Chevrolet trucks and delivery cars are needed for 1,001 different purposes. 150 Chevrolet trucks tear about the rough, jagged valley, carrying supplies of gasoline, machinery, and gravel, transporting engineers from one point to another. A mighty important part of the work which must be done to assure the completion of the dam on scheduled time. The entire TVA project will affect the lives of over 6 million people in the surrounding territory. All the thrills of ice boat racing without the bumps and jolts. All it takes is one fast, speedy ice boat, a new standard Chevrolet, and you're all set. Plenty of speed, and look out there, mister, no tricks. What do you think you've got on that boat? Knee action? You'd like to be on the boat? All right, then, here we go. But hang on. Hey, mister, what is this? Can't you miss a few of those bumps? Whew. So you think it's fun, eh? Well, there's plenty trouble just hanging on without worrying about directions or where you're going to end up at. And look at that snowfly. No wonder you have to bundle up for this sport and take a day's rest after every ride. A lot more comfortable this. And you don't have to depend on the wind for your power. Just a little more push on the accelerator and you're out in front. This chap may be running his ice boat on free air, but he hasn't got as much on the car as he thinks, for the engine is using only 1 part of gasoline to every 18 parts of air, and that does the trick. It takes some speed to overtake an ice boat traveling with the wind. Come on there, fellows. You're getting behind. There's a little more breeze. Give it the gun. That's the stuff. He's gaining. Wow, he made it. Out in front, over the finish line, and there's nothing like beating an ice boat at its own game. Step right up and try your luck. Here's a new contraption that tells you exactly how many miles you get to the gallon. A gas gauge that mounts right on the windshield to test gasoline mileage on your car. Over 4,000 Chevrolet dealers throughout the country have been equipped with this new device, which settles a lot of gasoline alley arguments about who gets the most miles on a gallon. Now, when your neighbor says he can outrun you on a gallon of gasoline, you needn't find yourself stranded 6 miles from the nearest gas station when you finish up, and you can both go along to see that there's no snitching. Motorists everywhere are trying this new game of checking gasoline mileage, and besides settling a lot of arguments, they're taking all the guesswork out of gasoline economy. Moore of the Terminal introduces 5 new creations for Milady's coiffure. The elaborate Roomba swirl for the most formal dinner and dance occasions. And the terminal, simple enough for the hostess, yet formal enough for evening wear. La Nimrée, for afternoon as well as evening wear, designed especially for the young girl. Ah, enter the Duchess. This attractive new headdress is appropriately named the Merry Widow. Another romantic knight with a regal and glamorous appearance, suitable for first nights in the opera. And now off for the show, all five, and not a worry in the world about getting a single hair out of place. For modern motor cars now have no draft ventilation that provides individual circulation of fresh air without a trace of draft. A little twist of the handle turns on the fresh air, yet the most elaborate headdress stays in perfect order. Construction gets underway for the coming 1935 All-American Soapbox Derby. An old baby buggy, complete with wheels, supplies the most important part of the makings. Rubber tires and everything. Maybe the streamlining won't be technically correct, but the winner last year received a 4-year scholarship from the Chevrolet Motor Company. And prizes like that are worth a lot of hammered fingers. This will probably turn out to be an innovation in motor car design. But wait till you see the other entrants in the 1935 Derby. There'll be everything from cracker boxes to cheese boxes on wheels. Only a few short weeks until the starter's gun bangs away and sectional winners from all over the country roar down the track. But a slow start doesn't mean anything on a long hill. There'll be plenty of speed and action when they shoot across the finish line. Besides hundreds of cars, there'll be plenty of variety among owners. And man, why did you get all them spectacles? Famous sports announcers, Graham McNamee and all the rest will cover the race. Hey, Graham, here comes your dog. Okay, boys, it won't be long now, and see you all soon. Mary had a little lamb. This is Mary, all right. But on second look, she must have traded the lamb for a brand new pup. Or is it? Right, it is. And she seems to be taking it for a ride in her mother's new car. Here, here. What's this? Ah, solid dog comfort. Don't you worry, little fella. There's room enough in there for 3 or 4 like you. Well, make up your mind. Are you going to move in or not? And don't look so glum about it. It isn't every dog that can travel in his own private compartment. And now off for a spin. My, my, my. A dog's life certainly improves with the years. Special express to the beach. The coaches may not be speedy, but at least they're air-conditioned. A streamlined locomotive to match the passengers. What a train, and what service. A sunbath on the way to the beach. At least you can't do this in an upper berth. The girls seem rather frantic to splash in the blue sea. If they actually get wet, it'll probably be a miracle. This way, please. Look out, girls, you'll get your feet wet. In the motor capital of the world, they're trying something new in a campaign to make careless drivers and absent-minded pedestrians stop, look, and listen. This roving voice of the police is a watchdog of traffic, giving orders at just the right time to make both drivers and jaywalkers safety conscious, like this.
Please, lady, always look at the traffic signal before you step from the curb. Red signal lights mean that pedestrians as well as motorists should stop and wait. Mr. Motorist, be careful. This is the voice of safety speaking. Do not double park your car. When you do, you not only violate the traffic ordinance, you also create a traffic hazard.
And is his face red? The traffic officers are finding this a good way to save wear and tear on their pencils, and it's a lot quicker than writing tickets. And so, around Detroit, the voice of safety travels, a constant reminder to motorists and pedestrians to think, not once, but twice. The 1936 National Championship Model Airplane Meet gets underway with all the thrills of real flying. 300 model airplane builders from all parts of the United States, Canada, France, and England, with models of just about every type of plane built anywhere in the world. A real gasoline engine, only one cylinder, however, but it has a real spark plug, and it sparks just like the big ones. It has to, for a perfect takeoff like this. Look out below. Not all the glory goes to the boys. This member of the fair sex built the entire plane herself. Here's the most exciting of all events, the endurance flight with the hardest of all takeoffs, rising from the ground. Time is clocked on each entry. A plane must keep within sight of the judges to remain in the contest. And after 30 to 40 minutes in the air, not many come back for a perfect landing like this. Uh-oh, almost too late. The family car seems to have been converted into an airplane carrier. The boxes in the luggage compartment back of the rear seat aren't shoes or lunch, just the spare parts and repair department in case of a bad crash. Got to weigh in first to figure out the fuel supply. A half ounce of gasoline for every pound of plane. 4 drops less than a teaspoonful. At that rate, he gets about 412 miles to the gallon. There's a simple adjustment on the motor to fit the grade of gasoline, just like the octane selector on Dad's car. And now, after all this excitement, it looks like our little entry got off the course. At times like this, a contestant begins to believe his plane goes a bit too far. But all's well that ends well. Little Willie, Sammy, Johnny, Henry, Cuthbert, or whatever his name is, gets back his putt-putter all safe and sound. It's really very simple if you have all the equipment and know how to work it. The surveyors are first on the job. The drill truck hoists the drill over the surveyor's mark. Water from the tender softens the hard ground, and down goes the drill, about 20 feet. Meanwhile, the crew on the shooting truck gets out the dynamite and the firing box. The recording truck arrives and hooks up the detectors. 4 detectors are placed just below the surface and all hooked up to a camera. After inspecting all connections, the observer climbs in and sets the camera. 4 pounds of dynamite in this charge. The shooting crew is all set to go. But let's see what happens underground. The problem is to locate the hump in the rock strata. The oil bed is usually closer to the surface at that point. The sound waves go down to the solid rock, hit the hump, and bounce back up. The photograph of the echoes is developed on the spot. From the little humps in these lines, the engineers can figure the exact location of that big hump underground. And with the record down on paper, there's nothing more to be done. So off in a cloud of dust rolls the caravan. There's another job waiting for them several hundred miles away. At home aboard, with all the comforts of traveling over the highway, Mr. Percy Hunt of Buffalo, New York, now goes to sea behind the wheel of a motor car. During the week, Mr. Hunt sells automobiles, and like the postman who goes for a walk on Sunday, Mr. Hunt gets out his floating motor car on weekends and takes another gliding ride over the waters of Lake Erie. Ventipanes do a double job here, keeping out spray as well as drafts. The 6-cylinder valve and head engine has been transferred directly from the car to the boat, even using the original rubber engine mountings. However, a couple of hawsers make the best parking brakes. Whatever the weather, both driver and passengers cruise over the lake with all the comfort of motoring along the highway. No hills, no stoplights, a driver's paradise. Just one big boulevard with oceans of parking space. The cruiser is 35 feet long. It weighs 5,000 pounds. Average cruising speed is 18, and top speed 20 miles an hour. What a perfect car for the streets of Venice. Mickey is also very fond of dominoes. There's nothing better than a good game of dominoes. Mickey likes all the boys at Fire Station number 10 in Minneapolis, but most of all, he likes best the domino players. So the boys play dominoes, and Mickey displays great interest. Oh, yes. There's one thing Mickey likes better than dominoes, and that's fires. Oh, boy, does he like fires. Gangway for Mickey the Polecat. Come on, Mickey. Don't be so camera shy. There's work to be done. There's nothing faster than riding with the chief. Here, here, keep that mouth shut. You're supposed to be excited. And say, where's your hat? Bareback baseball, if you please. Without bats, bases, or umpire, and not much of a uniform. They used to call it anti-eye over. Now it's just anti. Even beach ball gets monotonous. At least the game has been called on account of something or other. It may even be something exciting. Anyway, it's unanimous. Let's tag along and see. Come, come, girls. Let's get out of here before sundown. Well, that's action, but they're not really as far from the beach as one might think. Many a mountain grows near the seashore, and that turns our little bevy of bathers into mountain mermaids, or snow maids, or something. The girls on the fenders are rust-proof, but so are the fenders, for that matter. Hey, don't start that again. Bullseye! After 80 years of planning and 3 years of actual building, the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge is completed, the largest engineering structure ever conceived and built by men. The main span of the bridge, crossing nearly 2 miles of water, is hung on 4 all-steel box girder constructed piers. Each one is 48 stories high. Now for the official opening ceremony. The golden chain is cut with an acetylene torch. Whistles shriek. The harbor fireboats streak the air with ribbons of water. And the first cars to cross the world's largest bridge come rolling along like a regiment of soldiers. From the top of the towers, they're like toy cars on a ribbon, with spider webs of steel stretching up to the huge cables that support the roadway. Along both sides, there are heavy steel guardrails. Every precaution has been taken to make this the world's safest as well as largest bridge. Along the second deck roll trucks and buses. There's plenty of traffic. All in all, 30 million vehicles and 50 million people will cross the bridge every year. A smooth way to rough it. 1 million Americans today are living in homes on wheels. 250,000 trailers are those homes. Every day you see them skimming along the highways everywhere. With the modern automobile, there's plenty of power to pull them up the longest and toughest hills. In Trailer City, Florida, are 1,000 of these homes. Their owners park for $1 per week plus 25 cents for electricity. The life is not expensive, for in a trailer, modern conveniences are within the reach of people of limited means, many of whom could not afford them before. Cold weather is seldom a problem, for the inhabitants of this little city follow the seasons. Perhaps a month from now may find many of them 3,000 miles away, across a continent. In Trailer City, you'll find nearly every variety of home, from the one that Dad himself put together on the old farm back in Iowa to a custom-built deluxe model that cost $8,000. A license plate is often the only indication that the house is on wheels. As you stroll along the street, you'll find most of the homes are as unlike as their owners. But now and then, you'll find a pair of twins. This one has a huge beak that makes it look like a native pelican. Today, the house next door may be occupied by a retired bachelor banker. If it rolls away during the night, tomorrow's sun may bring a barber with 7 youngsters. Stores and shops, too, are often found on wheels. This one is a curio shop that's almost as old and weather-beaten as the truck on which it rides. Mother still washes the dishes and most everything else. Just for instance, the lineup that makes a familiar flapping sound in the Monday morning breeze. There are plenty of leisure moments for the housewife. She just can't find a great deal of work in a one-room house. A radio in the car brings entertainment and the daily news, and the automatic charging notch on the light switch helps to make sure the battery is kept fully charged, even though the car is driven only a few miles a day. Today may find the Trailer family under the shadow of the palms, but tomorrow, the American travel instinct urges them away, over the highway, on spinning wheels. Whether it's cold or whether it's hot, he tends his traps, whether or not. Yes, sir, the lobster fisherman hasn't time to worry much about the weather. In come the orders, and out go the lobsters. But that's getting a little ahead of the story. Up and down the rugged New England coast, most any morning, summer or winter, you'll find hundreds of lobster fishermen like this one, cruising across the inlets and shallow bays, pulling in their traps. While the lobster is known as one of the world's greatest food delicacies, he is also famous for being just about the world's dumbest creature. So dumb, in fact, that he could easily get out of the trap if he had sense enough to turn around and go out the way he came in. But he doesn't. And this is the beginning of the end. The claws are plugged with wooden pegs, and from now on, he's as harmless as a kitten. Bait is not expensive, for a lobster is as curious as he is dumb, and a piece of red flannel is often sufficient to entice him into the trap. With the traps all neatly deposited on the bottom of the bay again, waiting for more customers, the lobster fisherman homeward plods his weary way. But now the lobster tries to get even. He demands cool, damp moss in which to live, and he refuses to live long if he doesn't get it. So, speedy transportation to the packing house is an absolute necessity, and many a truck like this one can be seen along New England highways, giving very special delivery service to his nobs, the lobster. At the packing house, he is speedily transferred to barrels of moss and ice to be rushed, sometimes 1,000 miles inland, where he will arrive still alive and kicking. He may be dumb, but as the main course for a delicious dinner, he's the tops. Steaks and short orders at all hours. It comes apart a la carte. He puts it in here, the meat goes ground, and it comes out here. A few years ago, Fido ate the dinner leftovers and was glad to get them, but not so today. In the past year, one or more canine food kitchens like this one have been established in nearly every metropolitan city in the country. And Fido now gets a scientifically balanced diet, just what the doctor orders. Yeast, iron, calcium, phosphates. It may look like hamburger, but there's a lot more in it than even Fido would ever suspect. To keep the cost per lunch as low as possible, they use a regular production line. Here is a man who probably has more dog friends than anybody you know. In fact, he has about the same number as there are boxes in this delivery truck. Just for example, it's dinner time again. Gangway! No one but a hungry hound would have ever heard the delivery man out front, but of course, nobody but a hungry hound is very much interested. To the average individual, the dog sounds as if he were doing a lot of unnecessary barking. But actually, he's saying, "Gee, pal, I thought you'd never get here. Nice to have seen you, and don't forget to come back tomorrow." He doesn't do this every day. This is just to prove that he really enjoys his lunch, and how. And while Fido goes to work, you might be interested in knowing that the chef back at the Canine Kitchens has obligingly taken care of the less fortunate members of the neighborhood who have been on relief for the past few months. Army trucks are moving up as if they meant business. It looks like war. It sounds like war. Maybe it is war. Nope. Here comes a band. And a band means a parade. And that's just what it is. A parade and review of the Reserve Officers Training Corps of Purdue University. The drum major is all dressed up and going to town with the Purdue band and the famous Purdue drum. Wouldn't Junior like this drum for his birthday? It's so big they have to haul it on a truck. It's the granddaddy of all boom booms, the largest one in the world, and it makes almost as much noise as the artillery. Everybody loves a parade. Everybody likes to see a regiment swinging along. The Motor Transport Division makes an impressive showing, too. Dozens and dozens of Army trucks that move along like tireless squads of marching men. These men would give Uncle Sam the shirts off their backs. They must have heard that. They're stripping for action, but they're not going to fight. Nope, they're just going to push them up. This is how to get a soldier's figure and keep it. It's a fine body of men and a graphic glimpse of Uncle Sam's reserve officers in training. A foot presses a hidden pedal. Heavy iron jaws open slowly. The gangster-proof barrier is down, and the car slips into this strange place, carrying the contents of a cash register. But things are not what they seem, for this is just a new kind of bank, the Security First National of Los Angeles, opening for the day's business. No parking problems, no lugging cash receipts and valuables through crowds. Oh yes, and he carries his own safe. This is banking made easy, with perfect safety for both bank and depositor. The teller stands behind bulletproof glass and does business through a cast iron dumbwaiter. Here's the only known way of getting a draft through a no-draft ventilator. Hey, Tony, you're passing a stoplight. Well, he's in a hurry to get the money in the bank. This a bank she's made to order for Tony, for he no can leave with a pushy card out front. Hey, Toots, you save the money like a Tony? Smart bambino. You said it, Tony, and it's a novel idea for small depositors as well as large. A lot of thrifty drivers are putting their savings to work, banking on wheels, and the money is just rolling in. Come on, scram out of here. What do you think this is, your birthday? A little water is good for what ails you. Brrr, what happened to that sleepyhead? Well, it's a swell way to work up an appetite. Time for breakfast. Come and get it. The chefs have prepared 50,000 eggs. That's right, 50,000. 2 for each boy. A lot of hard work for the chefs. But think of the poor, hard-working chickens. And now for some scouting activities. How fast could you scale a 9-foot wall? Don't ever bet you can beat a Boy Scout, for they're all experts. Likewise, the sheet bend, weavers, clove hitch, and bowline. Just plain knots to you. Next time you find yourself out of matches, remember, Flint and steel will light you a good fire, providing, of course, you talk fast and blow hard. There's plenty of interest in exhibits from far away. These French scouts show a model of the Eiffel Tower, while more boys get a demonstration of a homemade glider that came across the Atlantic with its owner all the way from Poland. Foreign scouts show a great interest in American automobiles, for many features are strange to them. The adjustable driver's seat is something new, and so is the glove compartment. But most intriguing of all are the doors, which can be locked either from the inside or outside without using a key. 12,500 boxing matches all going at once. What a show. There's plenty of fun and exercise. Hey, you, pick on somebody your own size. Bullseye. But in reality, there is something serious, something mighty big behind this great jamboree. It plants a milestone in the history of scouting and the physical, mental, and moral help it has been to millions of boys all over the world. A living monument to Sir Baden-Powell, who founded the Boy Scout movement little more than a quarter of a century ago. Crazy as a loon, bats in the belfry. That's what people said about the guy that thought up this one. This, folks, is the topside-down zip-upper. It was invented by a fireman who fell off a ladder and landed on his head. You don't have to be crazy to ride it, but it's more fun that way. The driver picks rough roads just to make things more interesting. These are the two fellows who met in a revolving door and have been going around together ever since. Notice the top man? No, he's down. He's up. He's down. He's up. Well, it looks like good, clean fun. Tones up the system, puts roses in the cheeks, and maybe a lily in the hand. But then, a lily in the hand is worth two in the bush. What might this be? You'd never guess. It's a monkey sleeper, yowza, and it's full of all the lads. A Pullman for Dodson's Hollywood monkey stars. A high-class hotel on wheels, filled with guests that are always up to scratch. Inside the Pullman, a prima donna is coaxed out of her berth. It's time to get dressed for a matinee in the next town, but she don't wanna. Come on, Mabel, put on your britches like a good girl. The monkey sleeper pulls into town and right up to the stage door. Not a fan nor a stage door Johnny in sight. This is a swell way to bring in Hollywood stars. Now for a little powder, rouge, and such to enhance their beauty. Pete thinks he'll try some of that pink stuff. Not bad. Not good either. So it's carnation. He'll take vanilla. They were just going to relax, but that man's here again. Pete isn't to blame for his looks. His mother was frightened by Boris Karloff. This little lady doesn't mind being made up. She's the flirt of the company. There's a light in her eyes, but there's nobody home. Pete thinks, she actually likes it. Well, no big baboon is going to make a monkey out of me. She gives him a frosting. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Let go, you cad. The big show is now underway. It's astounding, it's stupendous, it's colossal. In fact, it's pretty good. She's trucking. Or is she doing the organ grinder's swing? The stools are reserved, but the occupants aren't. Why, she was never so insulted in all her life. A Sunday cyclist picks up a lady friend and gets a lot of backseat driving. Say, nothing seems to satisfy these jealous hussies.